Welcome to Economics 101. Today's topic will be globalization in the service sector.
What is globalization? Globalization represents the global integration of international trade, investment, information technology, and cultures. It is conditioned by the government policies in order to open up economies domestically and internationally to boost progress in poorer countries and raise standards of living to their people.
However, the international free market that has been made as an effect of these policies has mainly benefited multinational corporations in the Western world to the damage of smaller businesses, cultures, and common people.
The service sector produces intangible outputs of the application of labor, skills, and technology. The Philippines is widely acknowledged as a source of high-quality human resources in service trade, as the country continues to undergo reforms and move toward a more business-friendly environment. More of these investments are expected to come in.
The service sector in the Philippines is composed of services that facilitate exchange, services that change the condition of a good or product, and services that change the physical or mental condition of people.
Now, how does it exactly affect the country's service sector? Here are some people who are for and against globalization in the service sector of the Philippines. Here are the groups of people who are against globalization.
I am a national advocate for 20 years now. That's why I am against globalization. With rapid growth of globalization, there is a dislocation from increased competition as uncompetitive firms lose market share and employees are laid off. This means that the simple, humble, and small businesses in our country can vanish. And I cannot allow this to happen to my beloved Filipinos. I cannot allow my fellow Filipinos to be unemployed because of globalization. And as a nationalist, I cannot allow Western ideas to invade Eastern thoughts, which is very likely to happen with globalization.
As the founder of a civil society organization, I have to say there are reasons why globalization is not so good when it comes to civil societies. A civil society is comprised of groups or organizations working in the interests of the citizens but operating outside of the governmental and for-profit sectors. But globalization affects the concept of civil society because it can no longer be considered only in the aspect of the government, but now it should include the multinational criteria. This appropriates an individual and public space where it makes a transitional space where it contradicts the existence of these civil societies within national states. This now makes us question the meaning and worth of these civil societies as it beats national boundaries in the era of globalization and integrative methods.
Every single day. Normally, I wake up early in the morning to get ready for time of planting and harvesting. I usually plant cash crops, vegetables, beans, and even coffee. Life here in the Cordilleran Mountains is difficult. Sometimes, when it rains heavily or when it's really hot, our crops wouldn't grow. But when my family heard about this thing they call globalization, life then became the hardest. We were forced to move out to smaller towns because this government is taking over the land where we planted our crops to allow companies to build their industrial plants there. we were not able to sustain and protect our crops because the corporations and industries started building their tall buildings on our land. What can we do with that? We are just poor people living in the mountains, planting crops. What are we compared to them? We suffer even more because it is very hard for us to sell crops to the market, which is being eroded by foreign imports.
When it comes to my business, a humble little carinderia, we really suffer because products brought in by globalization overshadow our local goods. This results into the cutting of these local businesses. Because of globalization, my business will be palpak.
And here are, of course, the people who are for globalization.
Globalization really opened doors for me. I am really blessed because due to globalization, I was able to work with computer and information companies that allowed me to share my knowledge about recent technology advances in the world. IT specialists like me increases the communication of information between countries that do not have anything in common.
As the CEO of a multinational company, my company can really benefit from globalization. Brands are highly localized to accommodate local tastes, and these companies have already forged alliances with foreign countries to further their sales.
Globalization really is a great way for a country to develop. Globalization can cause rapid expansion of the national economy because of the booming multinational companies. With these companies offering new and improved products, there's greater demand throughout the world. That's why there's an increase in production because these companies have to keep up. Globalization opened doors for the many citizens of the Philippines when it comes to job opportunities. There is more labor needed to continue building and improving these companies. Thus, there are more Filipinos that are sent to different parts of the world to provide service to several countries. Of course, with greater competition of business, there are more Filipino and foreign companies that has emerged in the nation which also help the country's developing economy. A greater economy can be achieved through globalization because more companies, more competition, thus more products for a greater economy.
This is what I like about globalization. Globalization brings down the prices of services in high-priced locales. It increases output and improves service quality. People must be open-minded when it comes to globalization. When the prices are brought down and when the output is increased, this results into decrease in prices in two ways. First, it reduces the ability of firms to gain excess margins, and second, a margin squeeze will result into firms seeking to reduce costs. Globalization allows firms to achieve economies of scale as they are increasingly liberated from the size constraints of their home markets. It also increases in pressure in firms to minimize input costs. If these input prices remain high in global standards, these firms will be forced to transfer to places where prices are low but the quality is higher.
In conclusion, globalization has positive and negative effects on our country, especially in our service sector. While it can improve our economy, personal investments, and our trade industry, it can also affect our citizens in employment and businesses. And now, it's up to you to decide. Are you for or are you against globalization?